Yes, we're looking at our practice problems for this week, starting in lesson 4, going all the way through lesson 7. And the first page is all of the problems from lesson 4. So let's jump right in. Match each situation with a diagram. So we did this in class where we had these tape diagrams, and we matched them to these situations where we added or we took away a fraction of what they had. So the first thing that you want to do when thinking about these problems is recognize how they've broken up your whole. Your whole is going to be between these brackets, and X represents a whole, and they've broken it up into 1, 2, 3 quarters, 4. So 4 quarters. So that's why all the fractions are dealing with quarters. And you're going to either add on to that by a fraction or take away from it by a fraction based on what the Y is, or the next part. So let's look at the sentence here. Diego drank X ounces of juice, and Lynn drank a quarter less. Well, if it's less, Lynn can't be this one because this Y is more than the X. So it has to be either B or C. And since it's a quarter less, you need to take one of these quarters away. And that's what B does. C took 3 of the quarters away, and this one only took 1 away. So for this first one right here, we want to match it with B. And then the second one, Lynn ran X miles and Diego ran 3 quarters more. And the only one that went more was A, so it has to be A. But the reason why it is A and it matches is because they went 1, 2, 3 quarters more than the whole that Lynn ran X. So this one matches A, and by process of elimination, we would assume that this one would be C, but let's make sure. Diego bought X pounds of almonds, and Lynn bought a quarter of that. A quarter of it means that Lynn only bought 1 quarter of it. So it does make sense that this bottom one matches C right there. So there we go. Let's look at number 2. Elena walked 12 miles. Then she walked a quarter that distance. How far did she walk altogether? Select all that apply. So we could kind of make a tape diagram to show this. This would be 12 miles as your whole, and a quarter of that would be splitting that up into quarters, which if you split 12 up into quarters, you get 3, 3, 3, and 3. It says that she walked a quarter of that distance. So if we were to draw what's her name there, Elena, a quarter of that distance extra, we would draw an extra 3 attached to it. So she would have walked a total of 12 plus 3, or 15 altogether. Okay, so this kind of diagrams what's happening here. But what they want to do is they want to show that with like an expression. So which of these would equal 15, like if you work them out, right? Well, just adding a quarter to 12 doesn't cut it. That's going to be 12 and a quarter, not 15. So that doesn't make any sense. If you multiply a quarter times 12, you get 3, which is how much you need to add on to get 15. So that one doesn't work. 12 plus a quarter of 12 is what we did. We took 12, we added a quarter of it, which is 3, and we got 15. So that was one that we want to select. This one right here would be 12 multiplied by a whole, which we see here in the green, plus a quarter, which is what the red is. So if we multiply 12 by that 1 and a quarter, we should get 15. And you can try it out to see if it matches and gives you 15, and it does. If you add 1 plus a quarter, 1 plus 1 quarter, you get 1 and a quarter, obviously. 1 plus, let's delete that, over 4. You get 1 and a quarter, or 5/4. And if you multiply that by 12, we're hoping to get 15. And it does. So that one does work also. That one's a good choice. But if you multiply 12 by 3/4, since it's less than 1, it's going to shrink it. So that would be like taking a quarter away. That would leave us with 9. That doesn't work. We just saw on the calculator screen that 1 and a quarter equals 5/4. So F also works. And there you go, number 1 and 2.